AEW versus New Japan Pro Wrestling 2023's edition of Forbidden Door. The predictions video is here for you today here on SCW. Really excited for this show. The two main matches for it, Okada versus Danielson and Ospreay versus Omega. Both of those, for me, have Match of the Year candidate written all over them. We've got 11 matches in total to get through. I'm looking forward to talking about this one. And we're going to start with the buy-in match that has been announced for the Owen Hart tournament. For the women's side, we've got Athena versus Billy Starks. I've got Athena winning that match. Of course, the night previous on Collision will be Willow Nightingale versus Nyla Rose. The winner of that match will take on the winner of this match. I've got Willow Nightingale winning that match, so I think the Willow versus Athena will be the semi-final matchup. Moving on to the main show then, and we've got another Owen Hart tournament match taking place. This side for the men, CM Punk versus Satoshi Kojima taking place here. Now, for me, there's no surprise here. CM Punk is going to be my prediction, although it's good to see Kojima back performing on AEW TV once again. But CM Punk, I see going all the way potentially to the final of the Owen Hart Cup tournament this time round. As for excitement levels of this match, not really that much for me. I'm more excited because the aspect that Punk as well as the Elite will be under the same roof on the same night for the first time since CM Punk returned. That's right, things could get spicy more outside of the ring than inside the ring on this show. And I, for one, will be definitely checking out that media scrum. Speaking of brawlouts, let's move over to the Elite then, because there'll be a 10-man tag team match. The Elites, Hangman Adam Page, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson will be teaming alongside Eddie Kingston and Tomohiro Ishii to take on the Blackpool Combat Club. Of course, that's Jon Moxley, Willow, Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli. They got Kuzuchika, Takeshita and Shota Umino also be taking part in this match for the BCC. Now, of course, the BCC making the shout here, knowing Bryan Danielson wasn't going to be involved in this match. They also knew Kenny Omega had other obligations on this night. It's going to be interesting to see whether the team of the Elite can coexist. Of course, Eddie Kingston has said that he doesn't respect the Elite and wanted to make sure that he could pick the fifth member. Of course, that was Ishii that was picked for this match. This, for me, feels like it could be a situation where the Elite could get one back. This then could lead to a rubber match further down the line. Although, looking at the lineup for me, the BCC should win this match, in my personal opinion. Mainly because Takeshita is also there with the BCC. You want to keep him looking strong at this point. They can go 2-0 up, and this can then lead to blood and guts, where the Elite finally can get their revenge on the Blackpool Combat Club, when, of course, both sides then are full strength. For me, it makes the most sense that the BCC get the win here. Of course, though, if the Elite were to pick up the victory, Shota Umino is right there to take that pinfall. MJF will be defending the AEW World Championship next then against Hiroshi Tanahashi. Tanahashi, of course, was going for the World Championship last year against Jon Moxley at Forbidden Door, so it seems quite fitting that he's going for it once again this year, this time challenging MJF, of course, one of the faces of New Japan as well. MJF didn't want to accept this match, of course, calling New Japan an indie fed, said that he was willing to no-show this event until he was pretty much goated into accepting the match this past week from what will be a future tag team partner and rival, Adam Cole Bay. Going for a prediction for me, MJF is not losing that World Championship anytime soon. Of course, he's been built for a singles match with Adam Cole in the future. Probably more likely he'll be at an all-in or all-out. So for me, MJF will pick up the victory. We'll follow that up with Adam Cole taking on Tom Lawler. Now, of course, Tom Lawler doing a lot of work for New Japan Strong. I'll be quite honest, I've not seen him perform, so I'm quite looking forward to seeing him in the ring. Adam Cole he rarely has a bad match, so for me, this will be a good tester to see how Tom Lawler is in the ring. Would I prefer to see Adam Cole against a bigger name from New Japan? Absolutely, if I'm being brutally honest, but at the same time, I do have some intrigue and interest in this match. I mentioned earlier Adam Cole will be going for the AEW World Championship in the near future. It is best to keep him strong here. Adam Cole to pick up the win. We've got an AEW Women's World Championship match as well. Toni Storm, the champion, defending against the New Japan Strong champion in Willow Nightingale, of course, also part of the AEW roster. Willow, I expect, will have a victory, like I said, the night before in the Owen Hart tournament, but I don't think she'll be winning the championship here. She'll be looking as strong as possible going into this match. I think potentially it's going to be a really strong match between the two ladies as well. But as I said, I think Toni Storm will be retaining here and be moving on holding that championship until Jamie Hayter returns. We've got a 4-way for the AEW International Championship, and thankfully they will not be pulling out of each other's hands, they'll be wrestling for it. Orange Cassidy defending against Zack Sabre Jr., Shibata and Daniel Garcia. Of course, Shibata has been teaming with Cassidy before, and of course did come out to Cassidy's aid, if I'm not mistaken, at last year's Forbidden Door, so kind of fun there'll be opponents this time around. Shibata is currently the Ring of Honor Pure Rules Champion as well, a title that Daniel Garcia has held in the past. For me, as a 4-way, this should be a lot of fun. It was a great tag team match on Dynamite this week. Daniel Garcia is right there for the pinfall, in my opinion, especially after getting the pin this past week to get the victory on Dynamite. For me, you don't want Zack Sabre Jr. taking the pinfall. Shibata should be protected as well. I think Orange Cassidy is retaining here. Of course, he's had so many successful championship defenses. I think when he does lose that championship, it should be to an AEW star, potentially one that could go and defend the championship internationally like originally was intended. But it feels right now that that championship has been booked pretty darn well, to the point that it's become the second most important men's title in AEW, in my personal opinion, especially as the fact that Christian Cage and Luchasaurus, whatever's going on with the TNT title, is nowhere to be seen on this show. Let's talk about the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match. Sanada, of course the champion right now for New Japan, of course part of the Just 5 Guys group, will be taking on Jungle Boy Jack Perry, who will be accompanied to the ring by Hook at ringside. Very interesting match, this one, and Sanada apparently has made comments saying he doesn't know much about Jungle Boy, that a bigger name should be going for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Interesting take, although Jungle Boy did just go for the AEW World Championship at Double or Nothing, so make of it what you will. I think this match potentially could be a show stealer low key on the evening. Quite looking forward to it. Of course, I have Sanada retaining the championship here. Jungle Boy Jack Perry is in a very interesting position right now because he's had chances to win big matches, to win championships, if he wants to take the shortcut. Of course, he has not done so. I think he'll get another chance here, or some miscommunication could happen with Hook. There's a reason Hook is at ringside. I think Jungle Boy Jack Perry will be turning heel in the near future. When the shortcut is taken, that's when Jungle Boy wins a championship. And could it just be the FTW championship? I hope it's not. I would prefer he'd gone for the TNT or a different championship. But hey, there's a reason he's paired up with Hook, so I'm interested to see where that story goes. Next, let's talk about a 6-man tag team match. We got the Suzuki Gods, Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki taking on Sting, Darby Allin, and a wrestler who will be confirmed on Collision this week. Of course, this has been recorded before that show by 2 days, so I get the chance not just to get a prediction wrong for the match itself, but also for who that mystery partner just might be, because Sting and Darby have said to Chris Jericho that Chris Jericho has got more enemies from more different companies. So who is coming in? Well, from New Japan's perspective, Naito would make the most sense for me because he's had history with Chris Jericho, 2 matches in the past. Dominion, I believe, was the first one. I think it was back in 2018, and of course Wrestle Kingdom in 2019, and of course they were 1-on-1 at that point over the Intercontinental Championship. Would this be the rubber match of sorts if he was put in? Shingo could be someone as well who was actually involved in Forbidden Door last year, not currently on the card this year. But one other name that comes to mind is an old WCW friend of Sting's, and someone that Chris Jericho mocked quite a lot back in the day. I'm talking none other than Bill Goldberg. If you're going to be announced on Saturday Nitro, aka Collision, Goldberg just could be the name, and that could be quite fun and interesting in a weird way, especially as he wouldn't be going for a world championship, so I would be more open-minded to it. As for a prediction, I'm going to go Naito. I think it's the safest prediction to go of those 3 names. It could be someone that isn't that, and if you do think it's someone different, let me know who you think it'll be in the comments below. As for a prediction note on who will win, the Suzuki Gods are undefeated. However, I think they are losing here. Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho, miscommunication. I expect potentially a feud with those two going into the summer. Sammy Guevara does seem to be booked more as a babyface since Double or Nothing, of course, since announcing he's going to be a father. So yeah, I expect Sting, Darby Allin, and to be announced to win the match. Let's get into that double main event then, shall we? Let's start off with Bryan Danielson versus Kazuchika Okada in a singles match. Look, when Forbidden Door was made last year for the first time, you're thinking AEW versus New Japan Pro Wrestling. This was the match I wanted. I wanted Danielson versus Okada. He has got dream match written all over it. The fact as well that we've tried to put a bit of storyline narrative towards it as well, I think is even greater. The fact that Danielson did appear on New Japan as well, saying he was the best wrestler in the world, wanted to prove Okada was not the best wrestler in the world. Okada being the Rainmaker, well, of course, when he comes to face Daniel Bryan, it will be like going to a desert. I loved that, and the fact as well that Danielson calling out this week Okada as well, saying, Okada, you want to show yourself as being one of the best wrestlers in the world, show yourself that you actually step up to me. And of course, Okada did appear on Dynamite as well with a monster pop at the end of the show. These two kind of briefly exchanging, but not giving away too much. Of course, a Rainmaker was given to Wheeler Yuta on the time. But for me, it's interesting to see how this match is going to go down because, well, to be honest, if this was in New Japan, I would say Okada is winning all day long. That would be my honest opinion. But the fact it's in AEW's house and Tony Khan is booking this show, it makes me feel like that there's a real 50-50 chance this could go either way. I would not be shocked if Danielson was to win. I hope really that we don't get BCC and Chaos involvement because these two stables, or Danielson joint head of a stable, if you will, for me, I don't want to see it like gang on gang warfare. I prefer it to remain one-on-one, the dream match that we want to see. For me, I'm gonna go for Okada to pick up the victories. He couldn't hit the Rainmaker on Danielson on the night of Dynamite. I imagine he'll do it on this show, Forbidden Door. I think it will take more than one to pick up the victory, and for me, it will be a disservice to this show if this match is not given at least 25 minutes. I want to see an Okada lengthy match special. I know that this is a long show looking at what everything's here, but if you're going to give time to one match on this show, give it to this one. I'm going to give Okada my prediction, but honestly, this one could go either way, and I think the prediction we all want to hear is when it comes to a winner, it's us, the fans. As it goes as well to the last match on this show, the singles match for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, the rematch from Wrestle Kingdom, Kenny Omega, the champion, taking on Will Ospreay. Of course, Will Ospreay has been badmouthing Canada as well in every way, shape or form. Apparently he's going to have security, especially from Don Callis as well. Is there going to be some sort of, let's say, alliance with Callis and Ospreay? Ospreay openly said, what do you want in return? I think basically what Callis wants is he wants to see Omega lose. Will there be an involvement from Takeshita and from Don Callis? We'll have to wait and see. But one thing's for sure, I think this match, if it's as good as Wrestle Kingdom, for me, it's my match of the year so far. It's another match of the year candidate here. I'm really looking forward to it. And if I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going for Will Ospreay to get the win in Canada, to get that monster heat, and to bring this over then for the trilogy. And I think the trilogy will take place at All In Wembley Stadium. Currently over 65,000 fans in attendance. Potentially there'll be more come the time that the bell rings. Of course, Will Ospreay then being in his home country, defending this championship, taking it back to New Japan as well, because to my knowledge, I don't think Kenny Omega has been to New Japan since winning it to defend it. So for me, it makes sense to put this title back in New Japan's ranks, back on Will Ospreay, and we can do the final match in the United Kingdom. Now, just before I leave you, I mentioned a few wrestlers from New Japan that are not involved in this show. I am shocked FTR, Jay White, Bullet Club Gold, Ricky Starks have not been included on this show as well. There is a chance we could get FTR versus Bullet Club Gold for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. I wouldn't be surprised with that. I also would not be surprised to see perhaps some Bullet Club involvement in some fashion on this show. We could get potentially, let's say, FTR and Ricky Starks going against a combination of Bullet Club Gold and Bullet Club, say Jay White, Juice Robinson, and potentially a Kenta, or perhaps even a David Finlay. Of course, David Finlay, a former partner of Juice Robinson, Finn Juice, if you will. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that was put together. If it was to happen, then I would say FTR would retain championships and I expect FTR and Ricky Starks to pick up the W. Although for me, I do think it's a shocker that Jay White has not been announced for a big match going into this show. But I guess we still have time with Collision coming ahead, and that way perhaps hopefully something will be made last minute for Forbidden Door. So that's my predictions there for AEW versus New Japan Forbidden Door. It's your turn to get involved in the comments below. What are your predictions for this show? If you've enjoyed the video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel as well. Enjoy Forbidden Door, and I'll see you for the next video. And in the meantime, check out these videos on the side of your screen right now. Take care, all the best.